We're putting the band back together.
Forget it. No way.
We're on a mission from God.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Oh, this is gonna be fun. We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you stay categorical?
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
I can see Russia from my house.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
We drink Fox water bottles.
I don't know. A proof is a proof. What kind of a proof? It's a proof.
Here come the players. Champions. 1989. Canadians win the Stanley Cup. El Presidente, El Perfecto.
Sidney Crosby, the golden goal! And the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Welcome to the Edge of Tomfoolery.
I have these notes, but I gotta say, I'm just fired up to be here today. Pretty cool. Wow!
Hey, what's going on? It's Bruce Mackey, and this is the Edge of Tomfoolery. And back in studio with me today, my friend and co-host, Mr. Robert Morris. Bobby, how are you?
Hey, Bruce, I'm doing well. And yourself?
I am living the dream. Living the dream. Also in studio from our correspondence office out in Calgary, Alberta, which has been highly and expensively renovated, I see. Mr. Stephen Height, how are you, buddy?
Well, you know, I've hired a set designer. Her name's Jenny. She's my wife, and so she's tried to give me one of these like bookshelves that makes it look like don't look too closely at the books because there are a lot of lovely children's novels for my kids. But,
how many of those books behind you have you read?
3.
Oh,
there's a few Bibles in there, so I want to take credit. Like I haven't read all of them individually, but I've read the
Bible.
I've got the gist of it, I guess is what you would say about it. Yeah. So there it is.
Oh, listen, this is our third podcast. We are back together, and it's good to have everyone here. Listen, tonight we are going to talk about music. We're going to talk about sports, and we're going to talk about the politics. So let's get right into it. Let's talk music right off the bat. New music this week, just coming out. It's the musical A Week Away. Have you seen it on the Netflix? Do you subscribe to the Netflix, Stevie?
I do have the Netflix, and I have, on my suggested favorite movies, that one did not show up for me.
You're kidding? No.
I have some questions about it.
Are you on the Netflix, Stevie or Bobby? Are you?
I have heard of Netflix.
Okay. So listen. So this is a movie about a kid who gets in trouble. He stole a bunch of stuff, and then he gets sent to juvie. But instead of going to juvie, they send him to like Pleasant Bay Camp.
Oh yeah, go Pleasant Bay.
I don't know that it was Pleasant Bay, but it was the equivalent. And then they randomly break out into song. So I'm gonna play. Let me just play some of the. Let me just see if you can. Have you heard this before?
In life?
Yeah.
Started out this morning.
Oh yeah.
It's Stephen Curtis Chapman, Saddle Up Your Horses. Okay. And so they've got Big House from Audio Adrenaline.
Oh yeah, that's going back in the day.
I know. And then they've got a few other old classics, and there's been some musicians. You need to check this out because they've got some musicians who actually make cameo appearances. So I don't know if I should let you know who it is that actually makes a cameo in the one. One is the lifeguard.
Okay.
Are you Googling it right now?
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up on my Netflix. So you just tell what's it called again?
A Week Away.
A Week Away. I wrote Fly Away, Bobby. I was close. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Okay. Bookmark. You can watch.
I'm putting it on my list right now. My list.
Yeah.
Yep.
There it is.
I hate to be the one to tell you though. Once it's on there, guess what? All the suggestions you're going to get now.
Oh, am I going to get teen rom-coms for days now? Oh my god.
That is what it will be. So you need to check it out. The music alone. The neat thing, I've had some friends and family that they've talked to, and they watched it with their kids. The kids love it, and then the parents are like, "I know all these songs because they're from the 1990s in Christian music." And so it's the music that we grew up on the edge when we started playing it back in the 90s. So it's cool. So you need to check that out. So that's new music this week. Some other new music. Bob Morris, Mercy Me has a new one. We played it on the show last time.
Yeah.
They got a new album coming out, and the name of the album. Did you show prep this at all, Steve?
I was trying to look it up for you. I'm down here on the texties trying to find what you sent me. So
yeah, the name of the album is called Inhale. It's coming out. It's called Inhale, Exhale, and it should be out the end of April.
Wow.
And so they've got a new song that comes out, and the cool thing about this song, it's called On Our Way, and I'll just play the intro part of that. I had to describe this to my kids. It said they're featuring the musical stylings of Sam Wesley, and I said I'm pretty sure that's Bart Millard's son. My daughter's like, no, it can't be his son because they got a different last name. I said, well, there's such things as stage names, and that got lost on my daughters. They didn't quite understand it. So,
yeah, this is my stage name. My real name is Zeus Arbuckle. So I just made this one up. So,
exactly. That's what I told.
Little known tidbit.
Zeus Arbuckle. Oh, I'm gonna have to remember that next time I sign off for the Edge. I'm Bruce. I'm Zeus.
Zeus Arbuckle. Yeah, everyone needs a real name for their stage name, right?
Oh, speaking of Zeus, let's talk about Zeus, this Suez Canal.
Oh,
yeah. So what's going on with the Suez Canal? Bob, are you familiar with what's happening over there? And what country is the Suez Canal in?
That would be Egypt, I believe.
There you go. You got
okay.
it.
Yeah. And so are you familiar with what's going on there?
Yeah. Have they got that thing loosened up yet? Is it still blocking the canal?
I think it still is.
Okay.
From my understanding, it still is.
They're having quite a time.
Yeah. And so there's been memes that have been going around, and I wonder if I can find the meme. Yes, here's the one. The Suez Canal. I don't know if I can hold it up to the screen here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The beachcombers.
The beachcombers could do it in a half hour.
Oh my goodness.
Right? They could totally get that thing right out of the way. Right.
Right.
What was the guy's name? Relic?
Yeah.
Yeah, these two would get, yeah. Do you remember them, Steve, or is that way before your time?
A little tidbit. My wife Jenny, her mom Arlene is born in New West, and so she actually went to high school with the Bruno.
Oh.
Yeah. She went to high school with Bruno Gerussi. So
very nice.
Ask her if she can hook us up we can get him on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing.
I mean, think of the people that would tune in just to listen to Bruno.
Yeah. I do some beachcombing. Give me some tips. All right.
Absolutely. So
I got to say, Bruce, when you said there were memes going around, I thought there was going to be a picture of Bernie Sanders sitting on that boat.
Oh yeah.
That would have been good.
That would have been good. Yeah.
Speaking of, we had a press conference this week. President Joe Biden.
Heard of him?
He had his very first press conference. He's been in office now for over 2 months. Very first press conference. We're going to play an actual clip from his first press conference.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done.
Oh, good.
I love it. It's just like, anyway, he just partway through, it was classic.
Listen, here's the thing. Joe Biden is born in 1942, right?
He did announce he's going to run again. He did announce it.
So, what does that mean? If he gets to the end of his second term, will he be 90 years old?
I don't know. He'll be 86 when he runs, and he'll be 90 when he.
Speaking of every one of your peers doing beachcombing, that's what all of Joe Biden's contemporaries are up to. No one's running the free world at this age.
I know. And it was funny. We watched it. I mean, I make no apologies. I am a conservatively bent, so that I am. So I have to do it. But I honestly felt bad for the man because he's going and calling on the reporters, and then he'd look down and he goes, okay, Alice from CBS. And then he'd look up, and I'm like, I felt, man, this man is almost 80 years old, He needs to be enjoying life, not running the free world.
Yeah, let the man retire. Like, it just feels like it's weekend at Bernie's or something now. Like, we're just
I
propping
know.
the guy up.
That's
Like,
100% what I think.
oh,
and then they announced, they said, at this point, your predecessor had already announced his re-election campaign. We noticed you haven't. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I will. Don't worry. I'm planning to run again." And you could hear like Kamala Harris behind go, "What?" She's like, "What?"
Goodness.
Anyway, I felt bad for the guy, but anyway. So we're back to music. We want to let you know some music that you need to download. Are you on Spotify, or do you have any of the streaming services? Stevie, you have any of the streamers?
I'm on the Amazon Music because I figure, speaking of running the free world, like if I'm picking my overlord, I'm going with
Jeff Bezos.
I'm putting my money on Bezos on Amazon, right? Like,
Did he not step down though? Is he done?
Oh, well, I guess so. Like, I mean,
he was at Amazon, but is he still? He still owns it all. But
I think he's probably like doing the Scrooge McDuck, where he's just sort of swimming around in his giant gold coins. Like, he's busy. You just say
so.
that.
You listen to Amazon?
Oh yeah. That's my jam. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you listen to? Do you have any streaming services, Bobby?
I do not.
There you go. Well, if you did, and this is what we're telling people, we want to let you know some of the new music that has just been released. So we talked about a week away. You want to check that out. Mercy Me, their album comes out in the end of April, but they've got like 3 or 4 songs out now. And then 3 other albums I want to tell you about. Lauren Daigle has Hold On to Me. It's a brand new single. It just came out. For King and Country has a remix album that just came out. So it's the Joy album that was out last year, and they've done a bunch of remixes and re-released that. And Mike Fisher's wife, who's got a fairly decent career, like she got by pretty much on his name for the first part, but Carrie Underwood has a new album out. It's called My Savior, and it's all hymns. So now you were telling me Jenny has been listening to this.
Oh yeah, Jenny is a big. I mean, we're here in the little place called Calgary, Alberta, so we are kind of bent towards the what is it called, new country? I don't know what Carrie calls her thing, but yeah, she knows how to 2-step. My wife Jenny, and so yeah, she's into the Carrie Underwood.
It's good. It's a good album. Yeah, and it's a lot of hymns. So I actually listened to it. I thought my dad, if he were alive, he would love. See, the musical inspiration for my father was more Southern gospel. And ours was not, and so he and I didn't disagree on much, but that's one thing we disagreed on, was music, and we would actually love this album, so you need to check it out.
Oh, there you go.
The new album from Carrie Underwood. So politics, moving to politics. We talked a little bit already about Joe Biden. We talked about the Suez Canal. Mr. Trudeau is now talking about carbon pricing, and let's talk about, what does Alberta think of carbon pricing?
I think there was it was maybe a Beaverton article where Jason Kenney was like, I really thought we were going to win that court case, and so I don't really have a backup plan.
Oh no.
So I don't know what's good. Like, are we all just going to get into a big pod and sail away into the Arctic Ocean? Like, I don't know. Like, we're here for a good time, not a long time, I think, in terms of Justin Trudeau. So we'll see what happens.
There's a possibility. Now they're talking about, and the talk around Ontario is there could be a spring election.
Yeah.
Which scares me. But that's the talk. Have you heard anything, Bob?
I've heard them say that, but nothing else.
What are people in Ivanhoe talking about these days?
Cheese, pretty much. Cheese. That's about it.
Thank goodness for that.
There is no impending cheese tax. I gotta reassure you right
now. That would have just
on the Suez Canal boat. Is there cheese? That's all I care about, because I don't need a cheese crisis on top of this whole COVID thing. Bobby, is cheese okay right now?
I think there probably is. I can't verify, but I think there likely is. Yeah.
And if there's some stuck on there, I mean, we've got enough. We could mass produce here, right? Mm-hmm. Enough for all of us to have cheese for years.
I would think so.
Can we make a cheese pipeline? Forget the oil. Can we send cheese back the other way?
The XL Keystone cheese pipeline?
Hey, we're willing if the states won't ban it.
Yeah, this is what we'll do. We'll say, no, we're doing cheese. It's not oil. We're sending cheese, and we'll do that. And then 3 weeks in, we'll switch it out for oil.
There we go.
We'll just flip it over here.
We'll send it from Ivanhoe. We'll make a big, like, giant cheese,
a big old wheel
tunnel, and just send them on through. all the way through. Like you'll hear like right through Saskatchewan, right through.
Oh, cheese tunnel. You're speaking my language, Bruce. Let me tell you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk a bit of baseball here, and let's play some music here. Speaking of music and sports, next week on the podcast, we are welcoming the very first ever captain of the Ottawa Senators, Laurie Boschman. He's going to be on the podcast. Wow. And you know what? I think we asked him 2 questions, and he took the rest of the 45 minutes.
He was on it. He loved that. That was fun.
So we've already, in case you haven't wondered, we've pre-recorded it already. We've already talked to Laurie, and we're going to play that next week for you. So great interview, great guy, great story. And where was I going at with Laurie Boschman?
That was good. It's going to be fun. I'm glad you said that we'd already done that, because people wonder why I keep wearing the same shirt every week. So I'm glad.
Yeah, the magic, and I don't want to, you don't want to be dishonest. I remember going to a taping. We went to see Regis and Kelly. I don't know if I ever told the story before. So I went to Regis and Kelly, and I think the guest on the day was Anne Heche. So I get in there, and of all the people, I'm like, oh, great. I got Anne Heche. I was like, so I was a little upset. And then at the end of the show, they came out and said, now we need to tell you that when we basically interview the stars when they are here. So we're going to be recording some segments for later on in the week because the stars are here today. So we're going to go change our clothes. So what Regis did was he went and changed his tie.
Oh yeah.
Changed everything and then came back out, but they didn't tell us who the guest was. So they came back out, and then so we got the one show, and we got 2 more shows after that to see, which we got to see Jude Law. And we got to see Mr. Tom Hanks.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. So they were filming it on a Tuesday, and they were going to air it on the Friday. So during the interview, they said, well, we understand that this past Tuesday was your birthday. What did you do on Tuesday for your birthday? Well, the show that was when it was being taped was actually Tuesday, and it was like 9 a.m. So he hadn't done anything for his birthday. So he said, well, I don't remember too much what I did for my birthday. I got up and had a really nice breakfast. That's so we don't want to mislead you. That's the magic of radio, podcasts, and TV and television. Sometimes they're pre-taped. And so we took Laurie Boschman, who's available, because it was at 6:30 and he had to be in bed by 8 o'clock.
He's like you, Bruce. He's early to bed, early to rise. That's how he rolls.
These retired NHL guys, they got to get to bed early. So let's talk about politics a bit. We'll talk about the COVID. COVID down south seems to be going down. And what's the COVID like in Alberta? Are they aware it's happening, or are they locking people down, or how's it going there?
Yeah, I mean, we've heard of it. I mean, we've got a little bit of it.
Yeah.
We only compare ourselves to Ontario and British Columbia because we really don't know much about the other provinces. And so those are really our 2. So we feel like we're doing worse than BC, but better than Ontario. And
yeah.
So that really...
Ontario's up around the 2,400 right now. I think they haven't been as great lately. And we're trending in the wrong way, but honestly, it's the people are getting it and they're recovering quite quickly. Most of the cases are you get it. I actually have family out of town that got it. 3 of them got it and recovered within a week.
Wow.
So, but in talking about that, let's talk about baseball. Baseball opening day is happening. Toronto Blue Jays and the Texas Rangers. Get on your computer there, Steve, or your phone.
Yeah.
See if you want to go get some tickets for the Texas Rangers. They have in Texas, of course, Texas is their own rules. They have basically are wide open again. Ron DeSantis in Florida is trying to get things wide open in Florida, basically suing. I think he's going to sue the Biden government so he can get the cruise lines back going again out of Florida. Like,
wow, that'll be his second press conference. So we'll see how that one goes.
So, but we're talking about baseball. Texas is wide open, brand new stadium. And as of the recording date today, there are tickets still available. I think the opening day is coming up soon, and you can still get tickets. Does that surprise you, Bob Morris?
Kind of.
Yeah. New stadium, Texas.
You'd think it would be maybe sold out.
If COVID hadn't come around, 100% would be. Have you got any stats there, Stevie?
On
The availability of tickets?
Hell yeah. I assume as much. I mean, here's the thing: as a Jays guy, Texas is the worst. For years we could be in the playoffs with them. They had that guy who tried to punch Jose Bautista.
Oh yeah.
You know,
who's
like,
that guy? Rugnet Odor.
There you go, Bobby.
Hmm.
When your name is spelt Odor, like, you're not a good player, right? So
his jersey was always dirty, and his batting helmet was always, and he never had it done up. He's still playing, I think, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Rugnet.
Probably with the Marlins.
Oh. Anyway, do you find it odd that there's tickets available, or is that like until everyone is vaccinated, do you think it's going to be this is what we can expect when things open up, that crowds will be subdued?
Probably a little bit leery. I mean, this has been going long enough that it'll probably take a while for everybody to get their confidence back.
Yeah, and to get back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think some places will be quick. Like, we get called Texas North up here in Alberta, and like in Texas, I'm sure they're like, you know, why don't we just shoot, if COVID's in the air, just shoot the air and we'll kill the COVID, right? So I think there'll be places that are less like that are less cautious. Like, you know, if you think that, like, you know, New York State and those places, like, they're going to take a while, or like California is not going to open for 20 years, right? Like, there's going to be places that are going to take forever, and then others that are like, we're fine. So.
Well, you know, in quarantining, like, I have a friend who flew overseas, played hockey in Norway this year, came back like 2 weeks ago, went to quarantine, and they went to send him to a hotel. They wanted to send him to the quarantine hotel.
Yeah.
And I think they charged $1,200 for 3 nights. And so he said, no, you know, I've already had COVID. I have a negative COVID test. I've got the high in antibodies, had all the things. And he had COVID in November. So he went through all the stuff, and they said, no, we got to take you to the hotel still. And he's like, this is crazy. My lawyer says they don't. So he left, and they fined him like $3,900. It's crazy. Wow. So on the topic of quarantine, I know you're. We saw on Facebook your sister just returned Stevie to Canada and is quarantining and putting pictures daily of what she's doing during the quarantining. And my wife actually has requested that I take her or expose her to someone who has COVID, because she would like to quarantine, because she's like,
good idea.
She's like, you know what? I'm looking and someone's preparing meals.
Yeah.
And gets to read books.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I think I'd like to quarantine. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm in full quarantine lockdown right now too, and I'm a pretty, I think we would be Bobby, in the business what we would call an extrovert, I think is a term they would use to describe me. And so
how do you make it with that?
It's terrible. This whole thing is terrible though. Like, literally, I've said before, and you guys are invited, the second that they let us have, and here in Alberta we can't have anyone indoors.
Yeah.
And we can have 10 people outdoors. So the second I'm out of this quarantine, I'm inviting as many as I can invite over. And the second they bump these things out, that's the size of my party.
Yeah.
And so when this thing all opens up, I'm inviting every single human being that, like, I will pack them through in and outside. Like, I'm trying to get 500 or 600 people on my property, because I need massive year-long parties, because I'm going through human withdrawal here, and so I just need that.
At New Year's Eve, the numbers went down, so we were having a New Year's Eve party at our house, outside, of course, because you're not allowed to have all those people inside. So we had all the people set to come over, and then they set the number down that you can only have 10 people gatherings outside. And so with our family, we have 5, so we can only have 5 people over. So I had invited 4 families. I had to actually, what I did was I did it in shifts. So then I said, okay, you guys come from 2 till 3. We'll go inside, warm up, and then the other people, they leave, and then the next family comes in. We did it all afternoon that way.
It
was creative, but again, like you, I'm an extrovert. I gotta have people. I gotta have people.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is an introvert, and so I think he keeps fudging the numbers out here. I think he keeps trying to get some extra tests, or I don't know. He's probably got the COVID in the jar somewhere, and he's just swabbing it up and sending it away, because he's nervous about when this opens up, because there's going to be some parties.
I don't want to say who it was, but I knew of someone that was supposed to be quarantining because they were exposed for 14 days, and they were supposed to be quarantining, and they got their phone call to say tonight is your last night. You're free to go. They took the call. They were in a store when they got the call.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, anyway, you know what? I'll be so glad when this is behind us. But the next on the show, I just want to talk a little bit about sports, and then we got to go because we're at the end. So Montreal Canadiens have traded for a new player. Eric Stahl is now with the Habs, and this was his message to the Habs fans.
Bonjour, Habs fans. Eric Stahl here.
Let me try that again.
Bonjour, Habs fans. Eric Stahl here. I'm currently in quarantine, but super excited to get out on the ice with the boys. Hope everybody's staying safe and doing well. We'll see you guys soon.
How did you think of his French?
Bonjour, Habs fans. Bonjour, Habs fans.
Could use some work, right?
Where are the
accurate, though.
Yeah, the Stahl boys are from what? Thunder Bay? Is that where they're from?
Yeah,
yeah. That sounds like a French accent from someone from Thunder Bay. That's all I'll say about that. Yeah.
So Montreal makes a big trade. Well, the 3rd and the 5th round pick, and they've got Corey Perry. They're going for the 2011 Stanley Cup is what they're trying to compete for.
There you go.
But Montreal this week. So if we look back at what's happened in the past week, Calgary didn't lose once to Ottawa. They lost twice. And then they lost to the Jets, but then they beat the Jets recently. So is Daryl's time, like, how is he connecting with the fellows there?
Oh, I think basically what's happening with this whole North Division is just sheer boredom. Like, I think that's what's going on here. I think it's just like, yeah, here, you guys get one. It's a very Canadian division, right?
Oh, it's all
So
Canadian.
like-
and at first I liked it, and now I'm like, I'm so sick of.
Yeah. I think it's more like just sharesies, just sort of pass around a few wins. Like they're not going to take it all. So it's like, hey, if we're all just Canadians here, lots of stories, lots of type thing, right? And like, hey, you guys, Ottawa, you haven't won in a long time. Here's a couple. Winnipeg, you're actually you're in Winnipeg, so strike number one. So hey, you guys get one.
Here's a Lindsay.
Like I think that's sort of how they've just turned it into the true Canadian division. I'll just say that.
Oh, mercy. Well, and then of course Montreal, they got someone on the team they say got the COVID or exposed to the COVID and the Rona, and they are they didn't play all week. So the rumor the NHL released under COVID protocols was Joel Armia and Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and so they are playing again this week, but they were basically had a week off. And I think one of the wives on the team planted the evidence because they wanted their husbands home for the week. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, that's a good. And with a name like Kotkaniemi, like you sort of sounds like coronavirus, right? So there's,
I love
bound to happen.
So next week on the show, we've got Lori Boschman will be joining us. Great interview, fun stories, talking about Harold Ballard, talking about Daryl Sittler, and just about his faith. And if you're a Leaf fan, you'll want to tune in and listen to that episode. I think you got anything else you want to add this week, Bobby?
Well, I think that's about it, Bruce.
Stevie?
I was going to ask, like you said, if you're is there one? My brother-in-law. I was going to say if you're out there and you're a Leaf fan still, after 104 years of drought.
Yeah, basically,
tune in.
Tune in. If you're not a Leaf fan, if you want to listen to, Lori has got some great stories about playing hockey, and you definitely want to listen in. I'm looking for my extra music and I can't find it here. Find it.
Can Bobby hum it for you? What's an extra music? That sounds pretty fancy.
Oh yeah, the music that takes us out.
Oh, I get it. Like,
Did we just become best friends? Yup. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
There we go. That's it. All right. So be sure and tune in. Check out our Facebook page. It's The Edge of Tomfoolery. And our web address is www.theedge. Is it The Edge or just Edge?
www.edgeoftomfoolery.com.
Edge of Tomfoolery. For The Edge of Tomfoolery, my name is Bruce Mackey.
I'm Bob Morris.
And I am Steve Height.
I thought you were going to say Suez.
I am Zeus Arbuckle.
All right. Have a great week, folks. We'll see you next week.